All right, go.
Okay, this is a parent's guide to social media peer pressure by Sahil Hansaria.
Aadith Raghunathan.
And Ayush Dadgale.
Parents guide social media peer pressure. Social media is something that we all use day to day, whether it's to connect with family or friends, or it is to use for entertainment purposes. The downside to social media is that it can also prove to be a platform for a variety of types of problems. To develop peer pressure is one of them. The feeling that one has to behave in the same manner or be liked or respected by others of a similar age. We will share personal stories about times we've been victims of social media peer pressure in this article. And to complete this parent guide, we will also share data/statistics, as well as stories from other parents who are experiencing social media influenced peer pressure.
What is social media peer pressure? Peers or friends would urge you to do something you knew was bad inside of a building, like a school or office, according to the old definition of peer pressure. Peer pressure has changed significantly as a result of social media's influence on young lives in the modern world. Social media gives users the opportunity to unfairly judge the lives of others based on a few pictures and videos. This can cause insecurities and a rise in mental health issues. According to a survey by Youth Training Solutions, cyberbullying, which often begins as peer pressure, affects 59% of kids who use social media, and peer pressure influences 75% of teenagers to use drugs, alcohol, and smoke. This social media has the new forum for all unwanted problems in life. How and why does it affect teens? Why do teens in particular suffer from peer pressure, especially peer pressure on social media? Teenagers experience a moment in their lives where their bodies change. Amygdala, the brain area controlling emotions and behavior, is particularly susceptible to peer pressure in teenagers. This causes the adolescent brain, which is not acclimated to this transition, to make undesirable decisions and exhibit many unusual emotions. Teenagers display indications of social anxiety, depression, and loneliness as a result of the severe consequences of peer pressure. Social networks might make it more likely for young people to make risky judgments or decisions, including those involving aggression, drugs, alcohol, unsafe sexual behavior, and other decisions.
Tips for parents. Be communicative. As a parent, it is important for you to check in with your child occasionally to let them know you are open to talking about any problems. It is also important to listen to everything they say and never push anything they say away, and always listen to their opinion. They think of you as a trustworthy adult to talk and open up any problems up to. Being open and communicative will make them know you are a reliable person to talk to during a difficult situation. Two, having control over your teenager's social media. Allowing your teenager to have social media is acceptable, but it is important for parents to keep an eye on their children's social media usage to ensure everything is safe. The diverse strengths of social media rely on who you follow and can be both wonderful and harmful. Simply making sure it is a safe social media app is very crucial to keeping your teenager out of harm's way. Three, teach your kid, teach your kids to ignore the problem. In order to prevent peer pressure from affecting your child, you should teach them to ignore unwanted problems. One option is to advise your youngster to stay away from those who are pressuring them and manipulating their emotions. For instance, if they text your child, simply block them or choose not to respond. Find a strategy to remove your child from the situation if it occurs in person.
Next, we have the interviews. So we're basing them off of 3 questions. So first question is, have you ever experienced social media peer pressure? Second one was it a positive experience or a negative experience? And then the third one was, what was the experience? So the first interview we had was Tisha Naidu, and hers was a negative experience. So she says, for a while, she was part of a group of friends who were always communicating, and whether it was in person or online on social media, they were always in some manner related to each other, and they were always been nice to each other and a friendly group until a new kid from their school joined. They added the new kid into the group and started peer pressuring him into like kind of giving them answers for his homework, and they kept on texting him online to send him all the homework they needed. And eventually he said he's not going to do it anymore. And so instead of like saying, okay, they started bullying him, cyberbullying him online. And Tisha figured out that her group of friends were not very reliable, and both in person and online. So she eventually left that group and made a new group of friends who were respectable. So this shows that like social media can cause peer pressure, and then that can turn into like cyberbullying in certain occasions.
I interviewed Dakshan Thangaraj. He had a positive experience. His story is, in a WhatsApp group chat with students from his high school, Dakshan was added, and there he was cyber peer pressured into playing volleyball. I never wanted to willingly play, but I was scared if I would be treated differently if I didn't agree, Dakshin explains. After being coerced by his peers to play a sport he didn't like, he eventually became quite excellent at it and now represents his school at Menominee Falls High School. Though I was peer pressured on social media to play volleyball by my friends, this experience positively influenced me as I have found a new hobby I enjoy doing. This is a unique example of social media peer pressure being a positive experience in one's life.
Next interview is Niyati Hansaria, and it's a negative experience. And so the story is, influencers can be found on Instagram and many other social media sites. They are influencers considering they possess an extensive amount of power over others. Particularly in this interview, Niyati highlighted how she always thinks of how perfect they look whenever she looks through social media, despite the fact that these photos or videos may have been manipulated or nonetheless influence you to alter your appearance and the way you perceive others perceive you. This made Niyati feel different and flawed, which led to peer pressure from those influencers to change her appearance by purchasing items like makeup to fit in and appear more like them. I feel like when I started to act and copy those influencers, it turned me into a mindless puppet who was being controlled by strings, Nathan explains. This shows it's not a direct form of peer pressure, but it's an indirect form from people online that have changed her way and forced her to do things. That's a brochure.
Sorry, I was talking on mute. Loved it. One of those things that I loved about this and all presentations is the presentation style also, right? The way it was written, it's like a magazine article. It can even be published with the images and all correspond very well to the text. Each one article is not just a Google research, but it also comes with their actual interviews, right? So of people and sharing their experiences as well. That makes it real. Any questions? Thoughts?
This was a excellent topic, and I really liked what all the three boys presented. One quick question: is there a way to see the bad side of the social media peer pressure? Like like we see the glitz and glam, like the example that Sahil gave with his interview. Um, is there a, like, what happens to when you fall prey to such type of social media peer pressures? Is
Well,
there, do we have examples of those so that kids know, oh, if I do this, I'll get into this type of trouble,
yeah, there's like a lot of things you can fall into. So like one of them was like, it starts as social media peer pressure. You go into like any kind of social media, you get peer pressured. It can, and like the outcomes are like a lot of ways you can end. So like it can be cyberbullying. You can be influenced to use like substances that you're not supposed to use. You're influenced to like maybe bully someone because you don't want to be left out. And maybe you're like Sahil's example, you're like following someone, but you know that it's not you. So like there's a lot of ways they can like shape someone's lives. So it's important to like, you can use social media, but you have to maintain your life too. Like make sure you're in shape.
I have a question. One of the like second point, I think in the things that parents can try was keep an eye on your teenagers social media, right? Who they follow and all those things. So my question to you, teenagers, is it okay for the parent to, check in on who are the friends on, say, WhatsApp or Instagram on your phone?
Yeah, that's exactly what you want like a parent to do, because you can check in on like your friends and make sure they have good friends and you're not being pressured to do anything bad. And you can always just like keep an eye on them and make sure they're not doing anything bad or they don't have bad friends. And if they do, then find new friends that are good and respectful.
Okay.
Okay,
And
I have the
Go
same
ahead.
same question on the same line. Like it is suggested that parents should have control over the social media of their teenagers, and in that case, I have if we are doing that, it is kind of a privacy issue. Even if like he is my child, or that if I want to have control over, it will be a resistant to that. Like, so how do like a suggestion from teenagers to their parents how to control that, and then they don't feel that like it is like a bothering to my privacy.
Oh, that's a good question, because I wouldn't want my parents checking my phone either.
Yeah.
You could like get to know their friends in person, or you could get to know like their friends' parents, or you could just like make an own account and track their followers like from outside. But I
Another
don't
way
know,
you could do it. So if you're starting to get social media, maybe taking it slow, one app by one app, and then maybe like starting off with friends you know who you can trust or close friends, and not adding anyone or like adding an app that like is going to be bad. You're going to get influenced to do something bad. So maybe like going off slow, and then you can start. Once you get older and older, you can start getting to apps that that are going to be bad, but you can control yourself.
Or you can trust your teenager not to have a bad influence of friends, and you can like give them maybe a lecture before they take it, so they know, and then you can trust them and not, check their phone.
Yeah, trust should be, I think, on both sides. Like, yeah. So that's so it's a good presentation. Everyone presented it well. Yeah, and it leads to few more questions, and that can be added, and more interaction and trust should be developed between parents and teenagers. So yeah, all the best. Thank you.
Maybe in one of the shakhas we can have a debate between the parents and the Dharma interns about whether they should get to see the phone and the contacts or not.
Okay.
Privacy versus trust,
Okay. Yes. You can put that as a both the
If you just
topics
ask the
sometime.
kids to open their Snapchats, that's enough. Nothing else we need.
Yeah,
We'll give them hours.
this is Raghu here. I know. Can you able to hear me?
Yes, we can.
So this is a very difficult and complex subject. Even Congress tried to bring in Mark Zuckerberg into the Congress. They grilled him for like how they are allowing Facebook and Instagram for the kids to go through this extent, because he couldn't justify the reason why it needs to be, because the privacy, someone brought that, correct? So even all the teenagers here, the moment they get their phone, they put multi-factor authentication there, they put their password, they put their real face ID and all those things. Parents doesn't have control exactly what they are doing, correct? But it's a very important subject where they brought in this idea, because it needs to start from them, correct? We can police them, we can monitor them, and we can do all these things, but they need to understand why, as a parent, everybody wants to be their best interest, right? So how do we take it to the next level and bring it this awareness? Because it needs to start from the grassroots level, that means from the teenagers. So I think all the three presentations. One another thing I just want to add, because I have seen this, especially the peer pressure. It also regionalized. For example, kids who are in Dallas, North Carolina, Georgia, New Jersey, New York, California, where they have more influence of a population of Indians. There is a lot more pressure coming from them, because they measure everything through the SAT and ACT score, and that puts more pressure into their emotional and physical, that turns into violence at some point in time, correct? So it is also regionalized, not only like within the community or within the Indian kids, but it's specifically more targeted where there are more Asian kids are there, because everybody wants to show that this is the way that they want to influence and make sure like they are doing their best in their career. Yeah, it's a great subject, and all the three presentations, I was just listening. It's a wonderful initiative, and again, thanks to all the kids and supported by the parents. It's a wonderful job.
Excellent, excellent. So while I stop the presentation, please go ahead and share your video.